What's your fondest memory of your time at Baylor, whether that's as a student or after?
Oh, my fondest memories of Baylor as a student is what was taking place in the classroom. I mean, Baylor for me was a eye-opener. It really was a mind-broadening experience for me. When I came to Baylor, I really came as a relatively young person in terms of religious experience, because I did not grow up. My parents certainly would have said they were Christian, but they were not formally Christian, and I was not involved in the church until I was a senior in high school. So the religious life was something rather new to me, but much more important than that, the world of ideas was new to me. And so I remember reading years ago of a writer who said when he went off to college, the major thing that was happening to a lot of students was trying to figure out whether this idea was right or that idea was right. But for that particular person who was writing the book, he said, college introduced me to the notion that there were ideas. And to a significant extent, that's what Baylor did for me. It introduced me to the world of ideas, and especially people like Ralph Lynn in history and Jack Kilgore and Haywood Sheaford in philosophy.
What was your favorite subject to teach?
You know, probably I would have to say the basic introductory philosophy course, because there I was introducing students to philosophical ideas for the first time in their lives. Now, I taught existentialism, and I love to teach that. I taught the history of modern philosophy. I love to teach that. I was one of the few who really loved just to teach the basic logic course. So I don't think there were any courses I did not really enjoy teaching. And for the first of my career at Baylor, I was teaching primarily ethics. But if I were just to say which course did I most enjoy, it was probably the introductory philosophy course, where I would try to draw students into philosophical ideas and thinking for the first time in their lives. And of course I would try to do it in such a way that they would want to take my existentialism course or my history of modern philosophy course. So,
What did you want students to remember about your classes?
I think what I wanted my students most of all is to appreciate that we are fallible human beings and can never be absolutely certain that we have the truth. And therefore we need to have open minds that will encourage us to be critical thinkers and always to be open to the possibility that we could be mistaken. Now, I would append to that though we are fallible and can never be absolutely certain that we're right, in order to be a constructive human being, you have to make commitments in the face of ambiguity and uncertainty. So I would say, what I really hope my students would see is that the critical life was crucial because we are fallible, but in the midst of ambiguity and uncertainty, we also have to make commitments and always be open to the possibility of change. You know, so often I would walk into a classroom and I would think, these young people in here are about to make the most important decisions of their lives. They're going to make decisions about what profession they pursue, whether they get married. If they get married, are they going to have children? If they have children, how are they going to raise those children? So college students are on the verge of making these monumental decisions, and part of what I certainly wanted them to do is to think hard about those decisions they're about to make. You're less likely to regret the decisions you make if you think hard about them. No guarantees. You'll make some mistakes. But philosophy Philosophy is really the most important discipline that you can study because it encourages you to think hard about the most important matters in life. And that's what I want them to see.
Why did students take a second or a third class from you?
Well, I hope it's because they had been stimulated to want to keep on thinking at a deeper level about the matters that get introduced in an introductory philosophy course. So, in an introductory philosophy course, we touch on existentialism, and we do a little of Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, but we just touched on them, and so some students could get interested, and they can take an existentialism course or a history of modern philosophy course, and pursue these matters at greater depth.
I have to ask, you retired a couple of years ago. Do you miss the classroom?
I do. You know, it's a funny thing. I did retire 2 years ago, and I must say that I have loved my retirement. I guess I love my retirement because I've got grandchildren in Michigan and California, and I'm free to go more readily. Another big benefit of retirement is that I can now read outside of my field of philosophy with no guilt. And so I love reading biography, and my friend Jim Vardaman has me reading these great 19th century English novels that I'd never read before, so I spend my day reading and I love it. But yes, I miss my students and I miss being in the classroom, but I retired at the age of 77, so I'm about 80 years old. And it was time, I think, for me to move on and let younger people move into the teaching profession. And I still have an opportunity to do some teaching. I'm about to do a series of seminars at Lakeshore Baptist Church on a brief tour of the history of Western philosophy and its impact on Christian theology. So I still have some opportunities.